Good morning, everyone. I know I'm on the graveyard shift before lunch, so I'll try to keep it as entertaining as possible for you. My name is Theo Priestley. I'm from Scotland, as you can detect from the accent. I will try to slow my speech down. I do talks around the world around technology, but what I tried to do for this particular conference was actually bringing something very different, which was involve children in a study that I took last year. About how technology that we all take for granted, that we talk about around the future, how they see that impacting their working life. Now, one of the things I noticed was that the UK has a shortage. It has an impending shortage. It's recognised that in 2013 there were 9 areas of skill shortages in the UK. Now in 2014-2015 we have 43 areas. We are struggling with STEM in the working environment in our society today. And the only way to address this is actually to bring it back into the school. We have to address this problem of bringing science, technology, engineering straight back into the classroom where it is needed most and inspire children around what they face going forward in their working lives. So IT, coders, programmers, developers, they're all in short supply. I say we need to sort of broaden that out a little bit. So who's heard of Millennials here, and who classes himself as a millennial here? I'm going to try and bust some myths here. So apparently millennials are the ones that we should all be bowing down to right now, because these guys are the future of our workforce. And they have career goals and aspirations and expectations that are well above our own of my generation, because I'm not a millennial. I might look very young, but no, I'm not. This guy here, he's not a millennial. I say that millennials are actually the same as every other generation that's come before. It's just that they have different expectations of the technology that they are sitting in front of. But their career, their goals, the way they do things is exactly the same as what we did 20, 30 years ago. So they call themselves millennials. If you've seen Guardian of the Galaxy, you'll know this quote. I think they're a bunch of a-holes because we are looking at the wrong generation to get inspiration from. So what I did was I thought to myself, I'm not going to talk to millennials, I'm not going to talk to the previous generation, I'm going to go straight back to school. 20, 30 years into the past, or should I say into the future, and talk to a class of primary 3 to primary 7-year-olds at a local school where I live, in Buxton in Edinburgh. And I asked the head teacher to involve over 100 children so I could get a good range of participation. And I also had one very eager IT teacher who really wanted to chip in and show what he could do. So what were the results? Well, interestingly enough, I expected flying cars. I want flying cars to take me to work. I want to be wearing cool clothes, stuff like, we talk about wearable technology, but I want to be wearing clothes that are going to feed biometric information or tell my employer what I'm doing. I expected teleportation and Jeff Goldblum as a teacher or as my boss, and obviously augmented and virtual reality. I got none of those things, or some, or a variation, but I did not get wild and wacky ideas from these kids. What I got was actually things that were really so grounded that it made me sit up and take notice. So the 100 or so ideas, I expected, again, very sort of loose responses. Oh, I want to see big TVs, I want an iPod at my desk. I actually got over 2/3 were designed the workspace that they actually wanted as well, and they gave very, very detailed information. So if you can't actually see what's written here, but each of these entries actually went into great detail as to what they expect their working environment to look like. It wasn't just a case of a few lines. They really wanted to express themselves as much as they could. So what did they come back with? Well, it's interesting that in the lunch hall, you've actually got this board that says robots. What do I want a robot to do? And I took a kind of picture. Hang on. This is where it all breaks down. So I took a picture of a few of the things that you guys have suggested, which are clean the house, help people to become people, which was actually quite an interesting one. Do all the activities that put people at risk, because if they do everything, humanity may become idle, and this is not good. And that always reminds me of, who's seen Whaley? The humans in Whaley, which become fat, lazy, and don't do anything. what the kids came back with was they wanted automated helpers. They wanted ambient virtual assistants. So we have Cortana and we have Siri and so forth, and Google. They expect that in the workplace, and they expect it to be ambient, so it's not something that is explicitly called. They expect it to be there for them already. And the key thing that came out was robots with a productivity purpose. So while we kind of sort of think about, well, another one was, I'm tired, give me a massage. Children wanted robots to have a purpose at work. Not just a thing, clean my desk or tidy the floor or have a Roomba sort of following me around. They wanted to be part of the process. So robots were seen as part of the working environment to help them achieve the goal of work at that time. It wasn't just something that's extraneous and it's there to serve them. Okay, teacher wanted a little bit of an input here, so he said 3D printing food replication, so no more vending machines, he said. I want to see basically what you have in Star Trek, which is I will walk up and it will print me food instead of going into a vending machine and getting a bar of chocolate. But the thing that he stressed, and the thing that some of the children came back with as well, was that it was healthy snacks only. What they wanted was to understand the ingredients and actually be fed things which were more conducive for their working environment, not make them sluggish. If they wanted a boost, it would be a healthy boost. It wouldn't be some carb intake that would make them sluggish in the afternoon. So the bottom line there, I say printery things to have no limits, but the bottom line there is actually food replication in the workplace will promote healthier eating and promote a healthier workplace. Physical interfaces that we see today will be replaced. Well, we're already seeing this. You've seen what Google is doing with Magic Leap technology, Microsoft and their HoloLens, Google with Google Glass. It hasn't hit the enterprise yet because it's all very sort of consumer focused. However, I see, and so do the children see, this kind of thing coming more prevalent in the workplace. So Google Glass, for example, there are already healthcare applications where surgeons will wear them and it beams everything back in real time to your health records. It's all recorded. Children basically expect roll-up and take-home environments. They don't, not one single mention of a PC or a laptop, which was interesting. Nobody mentioned a PC or laptop in the study. Even tablets were kind of a periphery. It was everything that it was up for grabs. Walls, tables, they expect it to be an interactive surface that they could actually do their work on. Nothing physical like this. And that was really interesting. So everything was up for grabs, walls, windows, for example. So they expect the workplace or tools in the workplace to be stealthy. They don't expect it to be sitting there in front of them. They actually expect it just to be invisible. The working environment is invisible to them. And we also had someone who I think is going to be a budding industry analyst who came up with their own industry term, HSFID, which is holographic stuff fitted into desk. I think she's got a budding career ahead of her because I talk that much rubbish as well. So, renewable energy sources were considered mandatory. So again, we are entering a world where at the moment we expect Wi-Fi to be free in every environment. Now, the next thing, I don't know if you've seen that Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and they've got Wi-Fi at the bottom. Well, Wi-Fi charging is going to be at the bottom soon. But self-charging device energy, they expect things to be always being charged up. Nothing explicitly plugged in, for example, but they also expect that device energy to be renewable, so from a renewable source. One of the things, windows, for example, we have windows all over buildings, but nothing is actually, no one's taking advantage of the solar energy that's coming in from a window, for example. There's a building in Moore, London, which is the PwC building, which is, I think it's one of the most eco-friendly and sustainable buildings in the UK, and it's won awards, and everything is channeled back into energy. So, for example, the kinetic energy from a lift going up and down all day, it's fed straight back into the generators. The kids don't know this, but they expect this from their working environment. Smart windows, again, as displays, but also as energy sources, drawing in energy from outside. Office waste, we chuck them in, chuck things into the bins, and someone else picks them up. Why? Why do they need to? Why can't this stuff actually be churned into renewable energy source at the source? Not just handed off to someone else to make some more money from. You might as well plug it straight back into the building. So the bottom line, everything must be multi-use and everything must have an equal purpose. Biometrics and facial recognition to play a big part in security. This one really, really interested me for the third point alone, is that children value the idea of privacy before they even understand the implications of it all. They know that they must keep things secure. They know that things must, they're talking about fingerprint now and biometrics and eye scanning and stuff like that. They didn't mention passwords as a security option. People were talking about, well, it scans your face for security when you go into a desk, when you go into a room. Someone else had an old office desk with an old office cabinet, and it was biometrically printed, so you could just open it up, but the next person behind you couldn't. It's implicitly called, it's there, it's ambient. You shouldn't have to explicitly call something into play, and the kids expect that. So if they walk into a room, the room automatically knows it's them. They don't expect to actually physically sit down at a desk and type in passwords. So again, design things to be passively secure to the user, not explicitly secure. Teacher again, we don't need no thought control. He's been watching too many films and things. You recognize the Babelfish from The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Teacher expected a brainstorming hat. Stick on a hat and you'll be able to extract all your brilliant thoughts for the day if you're actually doing a brainstorming session in a workshop. Language and communication as well. We're reaching a stage where we can Skype or Twitter is, what would you call it? Lost the train of thought. I've lost the word actually. But it is translating, that's it. Translating in real time what you're communicating. Skype is actually doing that just now. But in the work environment, the teacher said, I expect to be able to have a conversation with a colleague who's from a different country, and it is being translated in real time. So the bottom line out of that, well, teachers like Douglas Adams and J.K. Rowling, but the point I'm trying to make here is language is no longer a barrier for doing business, and children expect that barrier to be removed. Work environment shaped to employee moods. So we've heard of crowdsourcing, but there's also crowd shaping. They do this in concerts, for example. Everyone wears a fitness kind of band, and depending on the mood and the activity, it alters the lighting, it alters the speed of the music, and the ambient atmosphere. Children expect that actually to be part of the workplace. So the workplace is not shaped just for work, it's actually shaped around how they feel and how, and to promote how they feel. So we've got red lights here. Well, red is kind of sort of an angry thing. So if you're having a bad day, you're not going to floodlight your room with red. You're going to give it a peaceful color like blue or yellow or something like that. Kids want an emotional connection to the work. They don't want to just go sit down at a desk, plug away at doing something, and then go home. They actually want to feel something out of that. So again, design, if you're in this business, if you're looking to the future, if you're into the Internet of Things and everything else like that, design everything to change the emotion of work. Have an emotional attachment because your future generation expects it. Out of the office, no one wants to pick up a phone. They actually want to speak to you face to face. Fixed line comms were a no. They are expected to be able to talk to you on a mobile device or on video calling. They cited that. It was about, and again, 2/3. It was a main collaboration tool. Where for a real world example here is actually I've seen children instead of going round to each other's houses to compare notes on homework, they're actually doing it over Skype, which kind of removes a personal bit, but it removes the distance or having to sort of move. You're actually having conversations and doing your homework via Skype or via FaceTime and helping each other. And that's how they expect that to happen at work as well. Not having to pick up the phone, but actually being able to talk to you and I. And drones and and Google Glasses or things like that, recording the working life, meetings and stuff like that. Instead of having to scribble copious notes or have a scribe at a meeting, it's all recorded there and an immediate playback. So again, design things. Children expect things to reimagine how they want to communicate in business, not how we expect it to happen. And we're still obsessed with email and phones. So again, back to this, we have 9 areas of skill shortages. We have a vast problem ahead, and it's not just in the UK, it's across the world. We expect STEM to fall behind an awful lot. And last year I was at a conference here in London. This guy is a good friend of mine, James Governor, who is a co-founder of an analyst firm. And he says the developers are the new kingmakers because he's very strong in the developer community. I say actually no, the engineers are the new kingslayers. We need engineers in the UK, and we need to bring that into the schools and promote that, and not just from a young age, but teaching them all the way through that STEM is important and will be important in their future career. And look at this stuff. I mean, kids want to learn. This is the main thing that I took from the study, was kids want to learn. And we have examples of children being taught using Minecraft. And it's not just architectural things. So we have an example here where kids are learning how to create something like the Eiffel Tower. And we have 3D printing technology to actually show them it in real life. So they actually see their creation coming to life. But children are being taught in Minecraft with forestry management, for example, or architectural, again, like I say, bridge building, or city utilities management. It's not just designing a building and saying, oh, that's a pretty castle. They're actually understanding how cities operate and the best way to sort of plan out a city, for example, where the utilities companies need to be, how to service through water. Forestry fires, for example, was another example that I've seen in the US. But the other thing as well, apart from the fun element, is that we can actually bring them into the business world here. So we've heard of if this and that. I've seen Salesforce play with Minecraft, where they have actually had automated routines move the Minecraft guys around as if they were actually in a working environment. Now this gives children a really brief but powerful insight into workflow technology, which is all part of our lives anyway. Even email automation is a workflow tool. Children don't understand that in concept, but they can see that through things like Minecraft. And kids want to learn. Kids want to learn what to do. They want to know how things work. So my son, he was 10 at the time, I got him a kit, and he basically built a Game Boy from this kit. I helped him solder it. But he programmed an 8x8 dot matrix version of Snake on Christmas Day. They want to learn. Another guy that I know, read about is the son hacked to connect to help his disabled mother send an email. So again, kids are looking for ins and outs and ways to use existing technology that we kind of sort of take for granted that is closed and proprietary, to sort of eke out anything new and help understand the world around them and actually push forward the barriers. So before we think about the future of work, before we actually go away and think, right, okay, the Internet of Things is going to make my life great. Well, that's great. It's going to make your life great just now, but what about the generations that are coming? So work needs to go back to school. Work needs to, we need to take the work into the school environment and help the kids understand what they are going to face in the future, but also get their input into what they expect in the future. And one more thing, actually. This is really weird, but kids love fluffy rugs. Almost every single entry that I got back when they designed a working environment was that it had a fluffy rug in it. I don't know why. I don't know whether it's texture-based, but kids love fluffy rugs. So if you are designing a workplace of the future, make sure you have a fluffy rug there.